When traditional urban hubs reach absolute saturation, growth turns into friction. Space becomes the ultimate premium, while commutes and civic systems buckle under the sheer density of daily movement. The standard response to this gridlock in the Mumbai metropolitan region is a $35 billion infrastructure injection, specifically the Mumbai 3.0 initiative. Historically, this level of capital leads to outward sprawl. Cities expand their perimeters into distant suburbs, which inevitably decreases municipal efficiency and drains the resources required to support a disconnected population. The Thane corridor is breaking this cycle. Rather than expanding outward to accommodate growth, it is aggressively re-engineering its internal spatial geometry. This internal restructuring allows the core to handle higher capacity without increasing its footprint. By optimizing the space already inside the city, the region unlocks exponentially higher real estate values compared to traditional expansion. The Thane 2026 Master Blueprint is the specific data model driving this optimization. The intelligence driving this transition was collected, synthesized, and presented by Pawan Thakur of Thakur Property Consultancy. This 3D isometric blueprint integrates transit infrastructure, localized housing clusters, and ecological elements into a single functional unit. By deconstructing it, we see how transit bypasses separate traffic, cluster economics formalize housing, and eco-conscious urbanism retains talent. Understanding this sequence reveals how a dependent sleeping town is structurally upgrading into a premium, high-yield metropolis. The primary friction point suppressing Thane's valuation is transit collision. Local municipal traffic is currently forced to share the same physical road space as heavy intercity commercial transit. The solution is a $2.4 billion elevated bypass connecting Gaimukh to Byander. This cross-section illustrates the mechanics of urban bypass surgery. It creates a vertical hierarchy, layering a 6-lane elevated road directly above the existing surface street. Lifting heavy highway traffic onto the upper tier makes the 4-lane surface road completely frictionless for local transit. This vertical separation is then multiplied by a secondary mechanism, the 34-kilometer Metro Line 5. Stacking a high-capacity metro alongside a dedicated bypass tier systematically strips private vehicles and freight out of the local network. For the end user, this engineering has a quantifiable result. It mathematically halves physical commute times. This chart shows the direct correlation. As commute times drop by 50% along the x-axis, projected capital appreciation spikes by 20 to 30%. In a premium market, time saved is instantly capitalized into property value. Transit infrastructure is no longer just a utility, it is a financial engine. Even with optimized transit, a city faces a strict land deficit. If 100% of the ground is already occupied by irregular, low-density structures, there is no room for essential infrastructure. Cluster development is the spatial mechanism designed to solve this deficit. This visualizes the geometric efficiency of the model. On the left, irregular, crowded sprawl. On the right, populations are moved into unified vertical high-rises, recapturing 40 to 50% of the ground plane for wide roads, sewage systems, and parks. This spatial impact triggers a macroeconomic transition that Pawan Thakur identifies as the wealth creation vector. Informal settlements represent dead capital. They occupy valuable land, but provide residents with no financial leverage or economic mobility. This flowchart illustrates the formalization process. It exchanges precarious housing on the left for official documents and keys in the center. The final step moves to the vault icon, where residents exchange an unauthorized asset for an authorized one to enter the formal credit economy. The cluster model solves the municipal land deficit while absorbing an entire demographic into the credit economy, compounding the region's overall wealth through spatial efficiency. The final hurdle for any emerging metropolis is retention. To sustain its value, a city must retain high-net-worth individuals, corporate capital, and top-tier talent. Infrastructure and housing alone are insufficient to hold this demographic without a correspondingly high level of ecological equilibrium. The 2026 blueprint engineers this equilibrium through decentralized waste management, using Togo vans to achieve zero dumping. The second anchor is a 50 crore rupee lake fund prioritizing groundwater replenishment, treating aesthetics as a byproduct of hydrological intervention. Once ecological survival is secured, the city provides the premium lifestyle anchors required for cultural retention. This lifestyle collage details the civic infrastructure designed to keep capital in the city: a 20-acre international zoo, the MCA cricket stadium, and extensive waterfront promenade developments. Cultural anchors, including dedicated education and training centers, are built into the grid to prevent urban isolation and retain the city's intellectual capital. This represents the realized feeling of engineered livability, a manicured environment where hard infrastructure, nature, and humanity successfully coexist. This holistic index is the definitive reason why Thane's assets will command premium valuations over poorly planned suburban sprawl. The transition from a dependent suburb to a prime metropolis is not theoretical. The physical transformation is actively executing on the ground. This assessment highlights the delta between old and new models. The center column details historical limitations: highway traffic conflicts, horizontal sprawl, and dependency on Mumbai. The right column details the 2026 blueprint: multimodal transit tiers, vertical clusters freeing open ground, and premium lifestyle infrastructure. Premium real estate value is an emergent property. It only materializes when transit, spatial formalization, and high livability are stacked together perfectly within the same grid. Understanding this engineered synergy allows institutional investors to accurately price the market before the 2026 completion date. The data leads to a singular conclusion: the 2026 Thane ecosystem is Maharashtra's prime destination for capital. For investors and planners evaluating the Mumbai metropolitan region, the focus must move from outward expansion toward internal optimization. Navigating the transition from informal capital to premium formalized assets requires precise, data-backed entry strategies. The synthesis and creation of the intelligence model driving this transition is the work of Pawan Thakur. To secure your investment by consulting the data, contact Pawan Thakur at Thakur Property Consultancy for expert guidance.